Hi all. I'm going to explain very quickly what the hero's journey is and what Joseph Campbell's theory of the monomyth means. So the idea of this is that every hero, from Jesus to Gandhi to Martin Luther King Jr. to Superman, has a set of steps that they wind up following in their journey. So to look at the 17 stages, one of the things to remember is that a hero's journey does not have to encompass every single one of those, but there are three basic segments of it. We have the separation, the initiation, and the return. And so these three segments are the ones to really remember and try to understand how they fit into a larger story. So the separation is when you're still in the world of the norm, right? So think Harry Potter living with the Dursleys. Think Peter Parker going to high school and hating life. That's the separation section where they have to acknowledge where they start from, which is usually a place of discomfort of some kind. They don't fit in, or they're mistreated, or they're not realizing their full potential in some way. The herald comes, says, hey, there's a call to adventure. There's something out there that's bigger for you, and you're not living your best life yet. So that's where we start. That herald gets them usually to accept some kind of a supernatural aid. So this is a wand, a metal shield, flying shoes, any number of things that you can imagine from mythology. That's some kind of supernatural aid, some kind of a magical object. And at this point, they wind up crossing the first threshold, meaning that it's out of the world of what they know and into the extraordinary world. That takes us into initiation, which is a series of the road of trials, which this is sort of like every scene that you see of like a bunch of fights or a bunch of training, like a training sequence in movies, things like that, where they test their allies, they test their enemies, they're trying to figure out what they can do, what they can't do, how they can be the best hero, how they can, excuse me for a second. They figure out how they can be the best hero that they can be. Eventually, this leads to the ultimate boon. There's usually some kind of a thing that they're searching for, and this is when they get it. Then there's the return sequence. So separation, initiation, return. The return sequence is when they go back to their old life. And what's interesting about this is that there's usually some kind of confrontation with death, which is either physical, literal, or metaphorical in nature. And so when they get to that return sequence and they have to go back to the world that they came from, there's usually some hesitation because they've learned all this new stuff, they've got these new skills, and now they have to go back. So they go back into the world that they came from, and the important thing to remember here is that they've learned something and that they've gained some kind of knowledge and that they're taking that knowledge back with them into the world that they were in before. If they don't learn anything, there's nothing to take back with them. There's no change. So the whole point of this is the aspect of a circular kind of change in the hero. This is what it means whenever you hear of the phrase a rounded character versus a flat character. So a rounded character changes over time, learns something, encounters challenges, and then becomes sort of a different person by the end. A flat character is just predictable and always the same through the whole book or movie or TV show or story. So when this person gets back to the world that they are from, that's when they show the difference and the knowledge that they have learned. So that is the hero's journey in a nutshell. There are obviously lots of books, tons of videos written about it. Please go check them out if you're interested, but that's the quick sort of 4-minute synopsis of what the hero's journey is.